Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
this meeting of, I think, February 5th, 2025 to order. Sustainability Advisory Committee. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to everyone who's watching at home. If anyone is, that'd be great. Let me open up our agenda. This is our first paperless meeting, which I'm very excited about, all digital. We'll see how this goes. I think we can do it.
I brought a notebook.
Here we go.
Is it okay to bring paper?
Oh, absolutely.
We're not printing paper.
Gee, we're not printing paper, so
Yes, okay. Phew.
we're step by step, you know?
Yes.
Exactly. First item on the agenda is public comments. I don't know, there's no public present. I don't know if we received anything via email.
Nothing submitted, but we did, Ms. Manzer, who has some citizens petitions.
Yes.
Had mentioned she would come by for public comment today,
Okay.
so I was.
I think we have the flexibility to address that when that happens, so it's not very comfortable leaving the house tonight. I get that, so. And I'm going to make, hopefully, I think this is it's my fault, because I keep reading this and approving the agenda. We keep forgetting to add approving the prior meetings minutes.
Oh.
So I'm going to make that our next item. And
How
that,
many are outstanding? Or is it just the one?
we always forget till the last item. So no,
Okay.
yeah. So we just keep.
We're up to date.
We're up to date. I just not a bullet on the agenda, and I even read it and like, yeah, it looks good. Well, with that, I'm going to move to reviewing and approving last meeting's minutes. Were there any comments, questions, or issues on last meetings?
I read the minutes digitally and I had no comment.
Anyone? Any other thoughts, comments, or challenges?
No.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Jim Breeling moves to approve the minutes.
Moves. Can I get a second?
I second.
Excellent. All in favor of approving the January minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Meeting minutes from last month are approved. All right. Well, exciting times. Bullet number 3, election of a new chair, election of the chair. Last month, I mentioned that work duties would prevent me from being able to continue this role, but I'm super eager to continue on the committee, so that's my intention, to still warm up a chair here and opine when I can and contribute as I can, but we need to elect a new chair. We asked that if anybody had interest to write me. It's been quiet. I did get one note, but it's and I was just saying, just before we arrived, Mr. Chartrand, I didn't catch up on Robert's rules on how to initiate or instigate an election for this here. If we did not have a submission, someone could make a motion to put a name forward. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'd be great if that person agreed to that.
Yeah, it would be cool to know in advance, right? Yeah.
The person being put forward had agreed.
Let's say we arrived at this situation like we are tonight, and maybe someone didn't send an email, but they carried with them in the door the idea that they might want to do that. How would they make themselves known to do
Let's
that?
hear from them
That's
now.
Yeah, so if there's anybody that would like to consider their name as the chair, now would be an excellent time to raise your voice.
And if I can just, it's going to be easy because you have 2 former chairs that are current members. So you got lots of support.
Yeah, exactly.
Both Chetna and Chris have chaired this committee. So you got lots of support.
Yeah, and honestly, I was probably the least qualified, least suited person to sit in this chair. If I can do it, frankly, frankly, anyone could. A seventh grader could nail this. And so there's tons of support. We have a great team with us here. And so there's, so don't be worried about it in any way, shape, or form, other than you'll probably be on TV more than you want. But it's a small viewing audience, a small but caring viewing audience. So.
What's your estimate of the amount of hours per month that you put in as chair?
It's pretty small.
Yeah.
Honestly, depending as projects scale up and down, I mean, it could be as crazy as 5 and as little as 2. I think ideally we'd like to find somebody who had more time to dedicate than, like, my investment in time is not a great yardstick to measure by, so.
I think we had, at the beginning of the committee, we had a lot more hours to put in because of all the, like, doing the charge and doing, finalizing that, and then attending select board meetings and so on to talk about the charge that the committee had. So I would say in the first couple of years, would you agree?
Yeah.
We had a bit more
For sure.
happening. And then also we had the single-use plastic issue, and
I think there's some project-oriented stuff
Yeah.
that, like, certainly, as we start to tackle solid waste a little more effectively, there's going to be some field trips and things like that, even just the styrofoam collection, that was some time. But, I mean, administratively or managerially, it's pretty minimal.
Yeah, one of the issues is that the 4 other members that you have here are all new. And, this is my second meeting. That's one of the problems, I think.
You're already 100% more qualified than you were the last time.
What an optimist.
I don't think any of the new members of the committee need to worry about
being new.
being presumptive about stepping forward.
Yeah.
I think you've all served in various roles for the town as well as for other nonprofit organizations. I had the joy of reading your CVs as you applied. Any one of the 4 of you would be qualified. So, and it's not a presumption by any of you to step forward. It's just a service thing. So,
What happens in the eventuality that the chair is away or something like that? What's the process for holding a quorum meeting if the chairperson's gone? Is there a vice chair? Is there a
Vice chair.
Okay. So permanent vice chair?
President.
Yeah, no, there's certainly a process, and the vice chair would step in, and and because we have 2 alternates now, we're pretty robust for the first time, really. So if we're having difficulty making a quorum, I feel pretty good about where we're sitting. So.
Is this an item of business that could be passed on to next month when the 2 longer-term members are in attendance, or is it something you want to settle tonight?
that's really Chris's.
I mean, honestly, I think it's not a crazy idea to move along when there's there's certainly no guarantee that everyone will be in attendance next month as well. But certainly, having both them not here tonight is a good point as well.
You know what?
We're missing 3,
Please.
aren't we?
Yeah.
I will do it.
Can you put your name forward?
Yeah. My only hesitation is like worrying about the time and overcommitting, but it doesn't sound like, and I totally believe that everyone here is like very knowledgeable, and that it's that I could do it. I'm not concerned. Yeah, sure.
That's fantastic.
I would like to, I would enjoy it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, no,
If that's,
yeah.
if that's acceptable
It would be fantastic.
to everyone else.
That's
Yeah.
It was what I hoped would happen tonight.
that's wonderful. So then
I can nominate Denise Short as
we
candidate
go.
for chair. Looking for a second.
Do I have to campaign?
yeah, 6
You
minutes.
will have to put up with a pun, though.
A pun?
If you become the chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, the town of Exeter will be long on shorts. Because you will be
That's
the chair
true.
of this committee, and your brother will be the chair of the Conservation.
Is there any, like,
So that's what you have to put up with.
ooh, we could take over the town.
You're on your way.
Committee at a time. Exactly.
David, if
Long
you're
on shorts.
watching.
On that
So
note,
I have a motion nomination for Denise for chair. Is there a second to bring Denise Short forward as chair? Can I get a second? I can second that. If no one else, I'm allowed to second. I can second that. I'll second that. Any further discussion on moving to elect a new chair? All in favor of Denise Short being elected to the chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There it is.
Very
You
good.
just got yourself a gavel.
Oh, I've never had a gavel.
Bang me gavel.
Maybe the power will go to my head.
Now, first of all, thank you for
Yeah.
stepping forward. I know it's a leap, but you know what? You're going to smash it. You're going to do great. I'm not worried about it at all. So, and honestly, what's great about this, there was a time when we hadn't had any prior experience because it was a new committee, right? So someone has to be first and someone has to be next. So there you go. Great. Fantastic. Well, that's that. And what's great about this too is that once a year, if we're doing this right, we're going to revisit all the roles and bring in some fresh voices and move things around a little bit. So it kind of keeps it vibrant and lively and brings new ideas forward. So I'm excited for that. So fantastic.
Me too.
Welcome, welcome. That's fantastic. With that in the books, we'll move to number 4, the deliberative session update, which I'm so excited to hear about and I'm so sad I missed. So, all those in attendance, please speak. Yeah, tell me what went down. Tell us all what went down.
So I guess I'll just start by saying I could not attend. I had a family emergency, and I am so thankful that there was members of the committee who were able to be there and speak to this article. You know, we all invested so much time, and I was just crushed to not be able to be there. So Nina stepped up to present, which was fantastic. Denise, I believe you spoke as well. And Jim, did you? You did not speak, but so I was really pleased with how it went. But Denise, do you want to talk about what was said or how it was
Well,
received?
it was great that you had put together that presentation, the slides, and there wasn't any opposition to it at all. Or I'm trying to remember if there were questions. Jim, do you remember? There weren't
There were
any
even
like
any questions. no.
pointed questions about
Really?
any of the details. Yeah.
Now, it got a way more vigorous going over by the Budget Recommendation Committee than at deliberative session.
I thought that would be telling for deliberative session, but that's fantastic.
The BRC gave it a good going over,
Yeah.
and the deliberative session, there were some positive comments, no negative. Anecdotally, people have been coming up to me in the bookstore and on the street and saying how exciting it is that we're doing this. There seems to be a real, the styrofoam collection thing, I think, was a turning point. People are very enthused about how that came together and the response, so.
You know, I was just remembering, though, one of the questions was about the entrance to the transfer station and having a permit. And somebody was talking about, well, we're paying for this already, so why should we have to pay for this new equipment? You know, we're paying for our trash. Anyway, and I didn't quite understand that. And I think you answered,
Well, I just said that would have to be worked out later,
yes.
but I didn't want to get bogged down in that at deliberative session. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's buying a $20 annually sticker
Yeah.
for access to the transfer station seems to be a bit of a hot button issue for some folks.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into that at deliberative, because that wasn't the subject of the article.
No.
But I know that it is a hot button issue for some folks. To me, $20 to get access to the transfer station for a year might be the single best bargain
Yeah.
in this town. And there's a few good bargains in this town, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
But some people are very emotional about not having to pay
Yeah.
to access the transfer station.
And
I respectfully disagree. And I think that might be the solution, although it's up to the select board ultimately, so how
But-
that works out.
another aspect of that, I think, was saying that other people, anybody from not our town could bring styrofoam there. And that, how would that be handled? And I think, well, if they want to bring their styrofoam, great, because we're going to get paid for it.
Yeah, but there is an issue to access to the transfer station, and some people using that
Yeah.
as the toe to get in the door, and then once they're in, we don't have a lot of control over what
Right.
they do. So it's a single guy up there,
Yeah.
all by himself, and it's way out on the edge of town, so.
Yeah.
I think we need to be supportive of the personnel out there. But again, let's not get bogged down in that. That needs to be worked out.
I think it's a workable thing, for sure.
And people out of town, maybe we have them do collections in their town and bring it to us, similar to what we did for Guilford. I don't know. We'll figure it out, which is what I said at deliberative.
Yeah.
So would it be, since this is an advisory committee, would we work on a set of 4 or 5 options that we could brainstorm and present to somebody, or?
About access to the
Yeah,
transfer station.
yeah, I mean, or is that not in our scope?
It might come to that. That's premature for the moment,
Yeah.
I think. We need to focus on,
But I mean, you just kind of blackboarded maybe at least 3, and,
I have a personal preference.
sure,
Pay the $20. That's my personal preference.
But would
that
we-
may be unpopular with some folks,
yeah.
but
Well, would we want to guide the select board in any way?
Well, it's interesting, every time I get in these conundrums, I go back, literally go to the website, reread our charge, and, it is to advise the town on, so this kind of hovers on the fringe, right? It is to support and advise on a sustainable initiative, so I think we're certainly, welcome to put together some thoughts and share them with, Public Works or wherever this will land, and I would table that cage that as just like, these are just some thoughts we had about it since we've been.
Yeah, I would say it's not binding in any
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
I don't
it's,
think our thoughts would be unwelcome, so.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
the time for that, though, would be if it passes.
If it,
Passes.
yes, okay.
Agreed.
Good,
Let's
yeah.
focus on, getting people to
Was-
vote for this great
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then we can take it up in April.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And having not been there, and again, apologies for that, really bummed out about that. What became of the EV charging station?
Julie did the presentation on that.
Right.
And she did a great job. Selectwoman Gilman.
Great, oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
And not much of a fight?
My feedback was supportive statements as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There was some issue about if grant money doesn't come, and there was some contingency of the charging station on getting a grant,
Yep.
and, the questions of what happens if the grant money doesn't come, but I think that's another thing, the election will happen, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's in the warrant, it's
Yep.
dependent on the grant,
Yep.
right?
Both the styrofoam and the EV
Yeah.
charging are grant dependent.
Yep.
It's a conditional. So there was some discussion at deliberative about, what about the uncertainty? And again, my take on that is, we got to move forward, whether the federal government's with us or not. Obviously, these 2 articles are conditional on grants being obtained. And if they're not, then we don't do it.
Yep. And the other thing about that too is what's nice about this process is if the grants aren't available, I think we have some confidence that if they do make it and they do pass the warrant, then if they don't get funding, we can look at other funding opportunities next year and bring these things back, right? We can put them back on the warrant and with other funding opportunities, whether that be private or fundraising or changing winds in Washington, I don't know. So we'll see.
I did say at the select board meeting on Monday night, and I haven't gotten any blowback on this take yet, but I may. We were doing this for 175 years before there was a federal government. We started self-government in this town in 1638. 149 years later, there was a federal government. It was small,
Yeah.
and we did not rely on it for many years. I like this form of government. I like being self-sufficient. I like being, in charge of our own affairs. We'll see how it goes. But we did this for a long time without the federal government.
No,
Not that we want to do that, but
No, but it shouldn't be the thing that stops things in their tracks either, right? So
We need to move
if it's
forward.
if it's good for us, we'll move forward and find another way forward, for
we're
sure.
in charge of our affairs.
Yep,
That's my take.
well said.
So I was waiting for blowback on that, but
I doubt it. All right, any other comments or updates on deliberative session? Otherwise, we can move
what
forward.
was the transfer station article, the
Oh, yeah,
50,000?
yeah.
To kind of start to get the transfer station in a position where it can do more of these projects. Again, the presentation happened, there was no comment. There was not positive, there was not negative, it just was presented and went on the warrant as it was presented. So we'll see what happens with that. And then there was was there a fourth thing that we were working on? Or was it just those three? I guess it was those three, yeah, that we weighed in this committee.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I think, yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know if
do you
SMC
want
weighed in on
to, you spoke
pickpocket.
on Pickpocket Dam.
Oh, yeah,
Well, it's not, well, I guess it could be a sustainability issue because climate resilience and dam removal are more kind of related in some publications. But I thought it was interesting that of the 4-hour deliberative session, an hour and 20 minutes was spent on Pickpocket Dam.
Really?
Yeah,
That long.
there was essentially an amendment brought and voted down. I think there were maybe 7 or 8 votes for an amendment, which would have deferred action on the dam in pending an appeal, a town appeal to the state dam bureau to reconsider the high hazard rating. And that was, I think, pretty roundly defeated by
Yeah, it was like 10 to 1.
10 to 1, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, eight were for and 80 some were against.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that bodes well for the dam removal article.
Right.
I think the town has seen the wisdom of that through the removal of Great Dam,
Right.
Yeah.
and now it's like this is the logical next step. But there's some folks that live right there that have
Yeah.
concerns, and that's legitimate under our form of government. So they brought the amendment. The folks that attended deliberative said no thank you to that amendment, and it went on the ballot as it was written.
As written, all right.
And that one is not grant dependent.
Right.
It's, if the grants come in, it will defray the cost, but as it's written, the full amount will be expended by the town even if grants don't come in.
Interesting. No, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad to hear the chatter about it. Yeah, it's, we'll see what happens in March, but yeah.
Yeah, there were some great, once we got past the amendment, there were some great comments from Jim and who else spoke?
Nick Drinker and
Joni Pratt.
Yeah, Joan Pratt, yeah.
Yeah. As to why this is a great idea to move forward on removal. So,
Yep, that's interesting, yeah. I mean, we keep debating it longer, it's gonna fall down, so, yeah.
I think we have to take action by the end of 2027.
Yes.
Correct?
The Dam Bureau requires it.
Some action.
And theoretically, the state could sue the town and fine the town for failure to act, I mean, theoretically.
Interesting.
So that's one financial reason to do it earlier. The other financial reason is that the town already spent $300,000 plus to study the issue, and doing another $300,000 or $400,000 study and expecting a different result is not likely. So
And the cost will only go up.
only go up. The future construction costs only rise
Goes
over
down,
time.
exactly. All right, well, we'll move on to number 5, Solid Waste Subcommittee
Right.
update. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just think, should we be formally, alternates be formally put onto voting membership of tonight? Or, I know there's some people who are missing, so we kind of just got comfortable here, but,
Oh, everyone that's in attendance is a voting member
Is it, yeah.
tonight.
oh, okay, so
Because we're down more than our alternates.
okay,
so, yeah.
all right. The last few meetings, there was an official motion to make that happen. I didn't know if we.
Oh,
had to
yeah,
follow
do you
that.
have to
The
officially
chair-
recognize?
Yeah, the chair can appoint the alternates.
Okay. Happy to not follow that
No,
process. but-
actually, now I think Denise has to, I don't know.
We did the last few times, but.
No, exactly. See, I told you, anybody can do the job.
but-
It's clear it's not that difficult, at least to do it unwell. Yes, so Solid Waste Subcommittee, which I do also sit on, and I think our update is that we do not have an
Have
update. It's a busy time. We have things in motion. Obviously, I think we're waiting for the break of spring. Next steps for us are to go visit Waste Management landfill facility. We have an invitation to arrange that. But I think our last discussion was to wait till it was not a frosty, snowy thing. I think we're going to learn more when the snow's gone, so.
I just have something to add to that. So I had recommended at the last meeting, there's a gentleman on the solid waste subcommittee in the city of Dover who just did a regional analysis on solid waste in similar sized towns in order to make a recommendation for the city of Dover. I did reach out to him after the meeting, and he's willing to come in March if that's something this committee is supportive of.
Oh, yeah.
So
Very much
just,
so.
Yeah.
and my thought for that the content would just be understanding a little bit about their findings and the process they use to get the findings and maybe the decisions and steps along the way.
Yeah,
definitely.
that'd be
Okay.
Super exciting, yeah, just to, I mean, I'd love to inherit a structured approach if it already exists, that's wonderful, yeah.
Great.
Excellent, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. Subcommittee partner, you got any other thoughts on that?
No.
Okay. Okay. Police and Fire Station Subcommittee update. I know Ryan is away. Remind me, who's Ryan's partner on
Me.
that? You, yes.
And we have no update either.
All right. In the end, did you guys get a chance to meet with Dave Sharples or no?
No.
Okay.
But our schedules haven't
Okay.
matched up, but Ryan, I think, was going to try again, maybe next week.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So the objective there was just to do some listening and offer what we could where we could. You know, I think we have immense confidence in our town planner and the whole team to move this forward in the right direction. I know every day that they wake up, they're in the right place with sustainability and getting the most out of that building. So, but we felt that. Because it's taxpayer dollars and the role of this committee and the charge of this committee was to engage and be a good partner. So that's our approach. All right. Yes, 2025 planning, styrofoam collection, and compost promotion et al. Yeah, this is, first of all, reflecting back, we commented on the last meeting, what an overwhelming success by any metric, both qualitative and I mean, just the emotional feedback from people was fantastic, and and I think it was a great success. And among the big questions were, when are you going to do it again? When are you going to do it again? So that's great. And so really then it's up to us to figure out how to build on what we did with, no assumptions that even if we have a big win in March and then funding is in place and all of that, it's quite a ways to the finish line to get that done. So we have to kind of continue in the way we did. And I think, my thinking leaving that day and last meeting was, I can't imagine less than quarterly. And save for the fact that it's volunteer driven, I'd love to imagine monthly, but I don't know resource-wise, it might be too much. So let's crawl before we walk. Maybe quarterly is the right cadence to start.
Can I make a suggestion?
Would you?
Earth Week.
Town election is on March 11th. A wonderful piece of PR for this Styrofoam article would be to do a collection on March 8th.
Okay.
Just do it the Saturday before.
The other thought I had was, I think you're on the right track. What if we did it at the town election?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Can you bring some
That's what I was
styrofoam
thinking.
on your
And
way
then
in to
go vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's even more brilliant.
that's what I was thinking.
Because there's 2,000 folks coming roughly.
Yeah, and they've
I
all
like
got
that.
something.
Where
We'd have
could
to
we
check
do
with
it?
the town moderator to make sure that we could set up
Sorry?
somewhere there.
Where would we do it?
Well, we can check
Somewhere-
with SST, we can, there's
Yeah.
campus space there,
We need to
YMCA.
coordinate with Kate,
Yeah.
the town moderator.
Okay.
Because there's issues with parking sometimes. But I love that idea. Do you like that idea?
I like that idea. The space to me feels like a bit of a challenge, but maybe the SST automotive area has some.
They
We have
overflow
good
parking.
partners at
Yeah.
YMCA as well. There's opportunities there. So, yeah.
Is there any downside to trying to do it that day? The downside for me is that I'm not available because I have to be in the building. We have two of our select board members that are on the ballot and are not allowed to be there, so it puts more pressure on the three remaining select board
Well,
members.
while you were fantastic at collecting styrofoam, we will suffer this one without you if we have to.
There you go, there you go.
Why don't we get the students involved? Because they don't have classes that day.
Oh, also double
Right?
brilliant, right?
Like, and isn't there an environmental club at the high school?
Yeah, there is.
So step one, check with moderator
Yeah, we
Make sure-
definitely, and the SAU,
and the SAU.
those would be the
Two
two,
first steps, yeah,
I
okay.
think, yeah. Can you think of anything else?
No.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. Bring your styrofoam and then go
And
vote.
vote.
Yeah.
Go vote for that article.
Is there a contact, Denise, that you know of for the environmental club at?
I don't.
So we have two reps that attend the Energy Committee, and they said that they don't have any participants besides the two of them this year.
Okay.
So I don't know how
It's
functional.
that kind of year, isn't it?
It's,
Okay.
Well, but maybe we could talk to them and see if like a one-time thing, if they'd be interested
support, yeah, for sure.
in maybe it can be like a service project for some kids or,
And I'll check with my son too. He's a junior over there and he's in a bunch of clubs and committees. I'll see it could be a service project as well. Okay.
yeah.
I have my bag of meat trays ready to go.
I know, me too, yeah.
I-
Me trays in the back.
For the first time, I bought some meat that had a styrofoam tray, and I was like, oh, I could save this.
Exactly.
I actually had a phone call from a resident from Riverwoods who says that he's been actively collecting for all the residents, and he has materials and is looking for when our next date is.
wow.
So,
Oh, that's fantastic.
If we can get approval.
right. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yeah, so.
So if that doesn't work out, the fallback would be that Saturday at Public Works.
Yep.
If they're available.
If they're available. So, yeah, let's work to clear that off. So, Solid Waste Committee, should we work with Kristen to get that done? We'll make those phone calls. Okay, great.
Brilliant.
I know there were some people outside of town wanted to drop their styrofoam. How, again, if they
And I don't see the problem with that.
They can come along.
There's no access issues there.
We do have.
They just can't vote.
Yeah.
Vote early, vote often, that's what I say.
Right, exactly.
Election interfering.
And so it would, let's see, so March, so you will have an SAC meeting before that,
That's what I
right?
was just going to check. We should technically have one before then, yeah.
It would be the week before, yeah.
Yeah.
So
fifth.
even if the budget wasn't passed, our budget would go to default, and there are funds set aside for sustainability activities. I'm just thinking about truck rental, right? If it turns out we open it to a wider audience, we were kind of at capacity with the volunteer who had the trailer, Keith Whitehouse, but we could have some funding available if there wasn't a company that would donate.
A truck.
Also thinking, thinking back to the offer from Public Works that we did not exercise was the truck and the driver up there.
Yeah.
If we can't, I would definitely seek volunteer help again, and we were grateful for Yeti for stepping up and doing that. We certainly can ask around to other places that are equipped, but again, I wouldn't let that be a barrier to us. We'll figure out a way to get through it, so.
Have we spent all of 2024's gone? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But right, you should, but if the budget doesn't pass, it just defaults to last year's number, right? So, yeah, okay. So we would have something. Yeah, I
there's
hate to
backup
blow it
there.
on a truck, but if we have to, we will. It's fine.
Right.
Be a good problem.
Right.
Although we did see how much styrofoam you could fit in your car, which was, I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed. So,
My little 2011 Corolla.
yeah, every nook and cranny was utilized. Very impressive. Okay, yeah, so we'll circle back as a subcommittee and check those boxes first and start planning that way. It could be a really fun win. Could be a good one. That's styrofoam, and I think that's a good plan. Alongside that was compost on here. It seems like it's got its own compost in general. The bins of the town seem to be filling up regularly and growing in capacity. I haven't had any contact with Mr. Fox to hear how their subscription's going and things like that. You know, what are we thinking is like the next best step to drive that, and also what are we hearing from Public Works on their comfort, discomfort with all that?
I've not heard any discomfort. I know during the holidays, we get a little tight, so like Thanksgiving through the end of the year, we get a little tight for capacity. I think it would be a great idea if this committee, and I'd be happy to help update, but if this committee kept that in mind and considered boosting this year with a potential for a funding request to increase capacity, at least for that
Key
tail
times, right,
end
yeah.
of the year. In next year's budget cycle. So those were kind of the things that I was thinking. You did the compost promotion with the bins. That seemed popular. I don't know that it really drove additional composters, which I think was the goal.
Yeah, I think we adopted some already mindful composters, right? So, yeah, I liked the idea of getting more bins in town, out in the neighborhoods, right? Which is a great idea. And maybe we just need to think about better ways to use that as an expansion tool, right? How do we vet that? And maybe just needs to promote it that way, that if you haven't tried composting, we'd like to help you get started, kind of thing. Because the investment was pretty minimal to get some bins and get them out there. Yeah, maybe it's just more of a rework of our promotion, because I think that there's value to that.
Is there a way in which we could target certain neighborhoods to get a street full of houses to compost if they're not doing so already, and sort of provide a sort of incentive? I think from a lot of people, the fact that you have Mr. Fox who does, curbside. And again, I think it'll be interesting to see whether the people who were paying for the curbside pickup, whether that has changed from before. I think will be an interesting thing to know.
Yeah.
And then to see which streets actually do pay for the curbside, and if there's a way in which we could trial, say, a certain neighborhood, and say, okay, we want to increase composting from this neighborhood for no reason, just to
study it. Yeah.
and
see if
to
it-
raise awareness.
'cause I think, I agree, because when you can kind of pack it into a defined study area,
Yeah.
it makes it easier to monitor what's going
Yeah.
on and all that, yeah.
The other thing I like about that is, I've been doing a little bit of reading about how to reduce solid waste stream. And there's a lot of writing that's been done on organizing neighborhoods to collect, sort, transport. So you're on the right track there, I think. To go from curbside pickup of waste, the blue bags, and mixed recycling to a more refined system, you're probably not going to be able to pull away curbside pickup without having a major rebellion, even if that's the long-term goal. And an interim step is to try to organize neighborhoods to kind of collect and sort their recyclables so that we can start to get because the value of recyclables really comes in the sorting,
Yeah.
the organization, right? So if you can get neighborhoods to do that and take responsibility for a small piece of it, like, sort your aluminum and
Your paper
cans and your bottles and, the glass, and get that to the transfer station, cuts the stream, right? Because we're paying for the recyclables to be picked up in a mixed way. And we don't know how much of it is actually being recycled,
Yeah.
right? Because it's all mixed. And so how do we start to get our arms around that? And it's the best way, in the reading that I've done so far, sounds like it's a neighborhood organization thing. You get some volunteers in a neighborhood, and they get their neighbors organized. And so I like that idea, because that is the model that I've been reading about. And to do it with composting, which is already up and running, right? We've got it sorted out. Not everyone's doing it. I think that is a virtuous approach.
I think it would be interesting in terms of that kind of incentive would be, if we had one of the bins that we have for composting dedicated to that neighborhood, right? So there's one big bin.
One of the big 65,
Yeah.
okay.
And so the residents would then just empty out their compost bags into that bin, and then it could be either collected by Mr. Fox or somebody. Could be.
So instead of running it through the transfer station,
Yeah.
we could sort of have neighborhood
Yeah.
drop off that Mr. Fox would, for a fee,
Yeah.
agree to pick up.
But it would give us a great way of seeing, what do we need to do to get neighborhoods to
Yeah, I like that.
come into the habit of composting.
What if so that is a financial investment that we'd need to have. What if our interim was a challenge to the community, the most number of neighbors you can gather to request a compost bin, we would provide them for free or something like that. The individual household bins.
Yeah, and
Because I think the bin alone, if we added an additional bin at the transfer station, was something like $250. And I think we got some.
Annually,
Yeah, that
monthly.
I think monthly.
$250 monthly is the upcharge?
I can
Something
bring
like
those
that?
numbers back because
Okay.
I'm not as confident as I was when I first started talking about it.
When the
But
bookstore paid for the bin that wasn't in the budget,
That was for
It
the
was-
year, right?
it was like $1,200, I think. And-
Okay.
And then I said we'd do it for that year so
Right.
that we could have it, and then you included it in the budget this
Okay.
year. So I think And I think that was an annual, and I'm doing the number off the top of my head, but it was in that ballpark.
Okay.
So about $100. But that's with it being centrally located.
Right, and then add pickup.
Yeah, so if we were dropping these in neighborhoods, so it just, I think maybe for us to schedule a good chunk of time, maybe everyone read up on neighborhood organizing
Yeah.
in regard to, trash and recyclable collection, and then come back and do a work session on this at one of our meetings.
Yeah.
Does that sound right, Denise?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
because I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head.
Because I think giving a neighbourhood residents those individual bins, I think there is a bit of a hesitation, I think, with people in terms of going to the transfer station or whatever, or being accountable, right? Which is what ultimately you're looking for, is for them to build a habit. So
Yeah.
if you did it in a neighbourhood and you had a bigger bin for the neighbourhood, or
Yeah,
that,
for 100 years, we've been trained to just put it, whatever, the curve
Yeah.
goes away. And so these are hard habits to break.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's ways in which I think we can sort of, definitely
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah,
different options.
let's make sure we write that into next month's. I think it's a great suggestion, Dan, to just kind of spend a little work session time on
Yeah,
it.
we should really just kind of,
Do some homework, yeah.
and maybe it's outside of our regular monthly meeting, but, just get in a room and try to figure it out,
I just want to add, I
what the
go
best model is.
every Saturday to do my compost off, and for the past 3 Saturdays, all of them have been full to the brim.
Oh, good.
So what do you do?
Just dump it in the street.
Just stuff them in.
Stuff them down.
I'm a backyard composter, and I noticed in cold weather, my compost bin doesn't rot.
Yeah.
The earthworms are all underground, and
Yeah.
so that's the only time I take compost to the town dump, and Mr. Fox is in the winter. Because in the summertime, everything I put in my bin just completely disappears.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't smell, though, also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, I don't know, just if we're brainstorming, there are tools that, if you're a backyard composter, to turn it over, and, distributing those
As well
or
as-
making
yeah.
people aware that if you are doing it, here's a tool that's easy to use
Right.
that turns it over and increases the rot factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do backyard, and then we got a dog.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it never comes, yeah.
Yeah, the two don't mix.
Was there
But
any
I worry
kind
a little bit
of,
about the neighborhood bins of rotting vegetable matter. Somebody might object. If you had neighborhood bins to collect aluminum cans,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's different, or cardboard.
Yeah.
But, it's just a,
Yeah. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
think, to pick or to sort of trial a neighbourhood where somebody is willing to have that compost bin in their garage or something would be helpful.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even, if the extra bin's the barrier also, just like, even for my neighborhood, I would take everybody's bin when I go on Saturday. I would.
Yeah, I would
I
as
would
well.
just put them all in the back of my car. That's fine. I'd go,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we got to just workshop it and come up with some thoughts.
Yeah, maybe outside of the monthly meeting.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea too, in terms of building community and developing connections between people, because that's another aspect of sustainability, is
Absolutely.
making that connection with others in your local community. I still do the curbside pickup from Mr. Fox because I've been doing it for, 10 years or something. And even though it's now at the town, I'm like, because I'm just so used to it, and it's easy and it's a very minimal cost.
And they pick up weekly?
We only even do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I was going to ask, at the Alewife Festival, was there ever a demonstration of compost, or like,
No.
you know, where somebody could come and talk about, here's how you could do your own compost, or,
That tool demonstration would be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
And bring some
Backyard
worms,
compost.
show them how it works.
How long have you been doing that, Jim?
20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never emptied my bin because it just rots in summer. So I don't even have a garden to put it on. It's just so effective. I mean, it's just teeming with worms in the summertime. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the Alewife Festival. I was thinking Earth Day is coming up in April, and then Alewife Festival's in May.
I think it's shortly after.
But we should look at opportunities for sustainability on Earth Day, recycling, composting,
Styrofoam.
environmental awareness, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So there are maybe some calendar significant dates that we could piggyback on.
Yep. Kristen's been amazing at getting rallied for AOI Festival. We had a table last year, and I think we could do more and activate these different things. It's a great idea. Yeah, for sure.
Great.
And I have somebody from another group that I belong to who's interested in joining the organization committee and
Great.
helping.
It's on my task list to get
Yeah.
together a virtual meeting to go over,
Yeah.
kind of set the date, confirm the date, and figure out what organizations want to
Yep.
participate. So I'll be sure to include.
You know how they do garden tours? I think we should do compost tours. But because composting, doing your own backyard composting is a little overwhelming. But if I went, on a beautiful, not too hot day, so it wouldn't be too smelly, and could go see how people are doing their own backyard composting, that would be kind of interesting. Because you might think, oh, I might be able to do that.
We could do publicity is the most attractive compost heaps
Yeah.
of Exeter, the top 10.
See the calendar already.
Yeah.
Combine it with like the art tour.
Yeah.
I think also not everyone has a backyard or garden.
Yes.
So especially with all the sort of condos and apartments going in place, it will be again to look at that sort of those apartments
Other scenarios.
and all the scenarios to see how they can be helped.
That's not even a crazy idea for your first community to
Isn't
try.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, just top of my head, thinking, we've had Lainey Lou who's helped us for the past X number of years, right, with our pump composting, and it's been really successful. And I just wonder whether the apartments all around the centre of town, whether we can strike a deal or talk to Jen, to say, okay, can we, have a compost bin specifically, that the people who live right in town who don't have the space could just put their compost in a bin, and we could, I don't know how we would do it, but I'm just thinking, just to make sure that we are not always just thinking about people who own homes and single family homes or whatever, that space is an issue for many, especially when it comes to bins and what to do with it. So how can we sort of accommodate that?
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
think.
Yeah.
I guess that's solid waste, so we'll pose to the chair and to Kristen a separate offline meeting to workshop that out, so.
Yeah, let me know. I would like to be there.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. We also want to talk about joint SAC and Energy Committee meeting date opportunities. That's definitely a fruitful one. I could look it up, but you could remind me, when is their regular monthly?
Next Wednesday.
Is
yeah.
it always the second Wednesday? Is that
Yeah.
their deal?
Yeah, at 3:30. I think it would be great if both committee, there was so much sort of energy that happened when both
I see what
groups
you did
got
there.
together.
Yeah,
I didn't mean
the
to do
pun.
that, but I didn't even see it initially until you pointed it out. But there was so much of that happened. So maybe a meeting where each committee, I know Energy Committee is brainstorming their 2025 plan as well next week. So, you've started to put some ideas. Once those ideas have sort of gelled a little bit, maybe getting together and talk about ways to, like maybe April-ish or something, March would be a good time frame for something like that. Give you time to generate some more thoughts and ideas and work
Yeah.
through your goals.
Yeah, that was a good meeting.
It was exciting, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was super strong, and I think maybe probably the hardest part about it is just going to be to agree on the date. It's going
Yeah.
to be the hardest part, but that's
Yeah.
outside of that, I think, yeah. And maybe the idea of some free space, put that flag a little further down the field so we have enough time to get our act together and come with things.
Does it need to fall on one of our meeting dates?
I don't think so, no.
The only upside to that, though, is there's already a time slot and the room's available. and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but I wonder whether it was theirs or ours.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I see.
You know.
So last year, they agreed to meet in the evening to accommodate us, so we might want to return the favor and meet during their afternoon time, if there's enough of our members that are available.
It's a good idea.
Mutuality would
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
dictate that
Yeah.
we go to their time this time.
So should we contact them and talk, should I contact the chair of the Energy Committee? Or what's the best way to pick a date?
Shuttle diplomacy, I don't know.
So, I mean, I can share that we're talking, or
Yep.
SAC is talking sort of March, April-ish, and I could set up a doodle poll that you all feed into
Okay,
and pick a date that way.
Yeah.
If we want to do that. If you want to meet on those specific meeting dates, then we could see who's available when.
okay.
Yeah, why don't we do a doodle poll for Energy Committee's April meeting?
Yeah, I think April sounds good.
Yeah, and we would skip our normal meeting and just meet with them at their time.
Cool
Does
idea.
that work?
Yeah.
Thanks.
If enough of us are available.
Great. I'll bring
Madam
that up.
Chair, it's all yours now, so yeah, you like that idea?
Yes.
All right.
Are you available for an afternoon time?
Yeah, if I have advance notice, I can make that work.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I like that. One of the best bullets we always have on our agenda is other business. Lots of good things come out of other business. Other business.
I'd like to say a massive congratulations to the Energy Committee and pulling off the window dressers inserts.
Oh, yeah.
I volunteered, and I wish I had more time to volunteer, but having seen the amount of time and effort and everything else that they had to do to make, I think it was 189 inserts,
Yeah.
I just feel that having spoken to the members who were there during the making of the inserts, that this committee should be more involved in that process and helping them pull it off even better for later this year. If there's going to be, I think they're going to look to that. But I thought it was incredible to watch, to see what they were doing, and a low-cost way of getting inserts done, but a lot of effort put in by the committee.
Yeah.
So I'd like to congratulate them on doing that and,
Yeah,
and
well
making
said.
a success of it.
And if you didn't see it or learn about it, there's actually an Exeter TV video online about it, so you can check that out.
And even though the event just ended, a couple weeks ago, I think, goal setting for this year is, I think, next week. So I know the Energy Committee was really excited and proud of the hard work that they put in. It was literally meeting a little slower in the beginning, but for a full year, weekly, basically, to pull that off. It was a heavy, heavy lift. And for a core team of folks. And I think their goal is to kind of find another entity, organization, I don't know what it is, that helps with the leadership of that, but that they still want to participate. So if you know, social organizations or something like that, that are things that you're connected with, it would be great to kind of ask them about their interest level. It's a lot for a volunteer board to pull off, but the results were so rewarding to everyone involved. It's seamless how they put together the whole process. It was mind-boggling, to be honest.
It's incredibly well organized.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and how perfect the product is at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite a sight.
I was amazed at the jigs.
Yeah.
That every little step, it was just set up so that everything went super smoothly and you knew exactly what you were doing. I mean, I'll volunteer so many different people, so many variables with, your ability or comfort with doing different things, but it was amazingly well organized.
Super cool.
Well, we can let them know in April that we're interested as a committee
I
in
think we should. I think it's,
supplementing their efforts.
yeah, I think definitely,
It's right up our alley, yeah.
the committee should be, the more the merrier, and to be helping them, plan it and whatever.
It is interesting to hear, though, that it makes sense, because it's quite an involved process and a lot of steps along the way, even to get to the quantity needed and the measurements and everything. So yeah, I fully understand their desire to get a lift from an outside organization, whatever, it's a Rotary or whatever that can step in. So I'll be thinking about that. That's a hard one. That's a good one.
I know that was the sentiment before the build, but the build was really, really invigorating, I think, to the committee members. So we'll see what they say next week.
Yeah. Interesting.
So you'll report out that we spoke about
Yep,
this?
yeah, for sure.
Great.
Other topics, other things. Well, I just have one, and I just would say, first of all, thank you, everybody, for the support this past year. We went from not sure if we were going to survive as a committee and to being overwhelmed with new members and energy and ideas and stuff like that. So super gratifying for me to sit here and watch all of you make this happen, because it wasn't me, it's all of you. I feel super excited, too, that we're passing a baton actually to a new member, which is super exciting, which is great.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm also super excited to continue as a member and support as I can and stuff like that. So no, it's been a wild year, but a really positive outcome. It went the right direction. So thank you all for that. So,
Chris, if I could just thank you for your leadership. You responded to my prodding, and I appreciated that. And you've done a great job of leading Sustainability Advisory Committee and building it up and doing some really good projects. So thank you for your leadership.
I appreciate
as
that.
chair.
Very kind. Thank you. Thank you. If there are no other topics, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion
Excellent.
to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is closed, adjourned at whatever time it is. I can't
Thank
read
you
it
for
up.
tuning in to
8:04.
Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.